Obviously, with the weather we're having outside, we thought it'd be better doing it inside. I can see how we're all rugged up, a bit cold and so forth. But those of you that feel more comfortable to be outside, you're welcome to be in the outdoor area here. So once again, on behalf of the Barry Plant team, our vendors and myself, I welcome you all here to this fantastic property that we're offering here for you at 32 Leatherwood Crescent in Willers Hill. I'm Sam Rosello, and I'm very proud to be your auctioneer here today. Over the last 3 to 4 weeks, you've had Nick Makris and Roy look after you, and obviously the rest of our team that's here today to assist with any opportunities or questions that you might have. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the front page of the contract refers to the cooling off period, which is not applicable during today's auction. Because of summary that the property is more particularly described in its indicative title as volume number 08826 and folio 357. The property I'm offering here today is better known as 32 Leatherwood Crescent in Willers Hill, and all the chattels we're including are light fittings, floor coverings and window furnishings as you have inspected. I'm calling for a deposit of equal to 10% of the full purchase price and the balance in 30 or 60 days from today's date. There are standard auction rules for today's auction. You may have heard those all before. They're set by the Real Estate Institute of Victoria. And they are as follows: that the auction will be conducted in accordance with the rules of any additional conditions that were made available for inspection before the start of the auction. The auction rules prohibit an auctioneer from accepting bids or offers for the property after the property has been knocked down to the successful bidder. The vendors have a reserve price, as the auctioneer indicate bidders on request, and the law prohibits false bids and basically major disruptions by bidders, and prohibits bidders attempting others from bidding, and provides fines for this conduct. The vendors obviously have the opportunity to take vendor bids, or I'll take vendor bids on behalf of the vendor, and I'll basically call them out as vendor bid. And by law, only I, as your auctioneer, can take vendor bids here today. This is a contract. Are there any questions on the paperwork at this stage? There's no questions on the paperwork. Before we commence with the bidding, let's talk about the property. And it is a wonderful property. On a day like today, just look around. How many of you here? It's amazing to see you all here, obviously. And why you're here is because this property is absolutely lovely. You know, when I walk through the property, wow, from the street, you might say, oh, look at those trees and so forth. The tree, it's obviously landscape, but it might need a little bit of trimming. Our vendors are aware of that. The vendors are aware the property needs some TLC, maybe a coat of paint, some new boards, some new, obviously, you know, taking up the carpets. Underneath those carpets, I understand there's boards, timbers already under there. Is that correct, Nick and Roy? Yes? Yes. So obviously you might want to polish the floorboards and so forth. But this home itself, ladies and gentlemen, we understand it's a Lucas Morris type property. Obviously the brick that they've used, a nice modern brick at the time, sort of to resemble that clinker brick type feel and so forth. But let me tell you, it's obviously not a clinker, it's obviously that nice, traditional, modern sort of scenario. But the floor plan is second to none. And when I say second to none, when this property was built, it was built with this open floor plan feeling. That's what people like today. And that's why you're here today. Because it's not just a home that you're going to knock down and build a new home here. It's a home by a little bit of attention. It could be a fantastic family home for all of you. So all I can say, ladies and gentlemen, I know you've all had a good chance to have a look at it, but the home itself, as you can see, it's a colonial style kitchen. Beautiful kitchen there, it has been updated sometime in the past. Westinghouse underbench oven, gas hot plate. You have the dishwasher, 3 bedrooms, master bedroom with an ensuite, plus a study. You may want to use that as a 4th bedroom. Double lock-up garage, good sized living areas, formal lounge, dining, kitchen, family meals area, a nice little outdoor area out there. Obviously a nice place for the dog there too. So, ladies and gentlemen, I could go on and on with this property, but before we finish talking about the home, let's talk about the location. Leatherwood Crescent, Willers Hill. Why is it such a great little spot? Because it goes in and out, and obviously it's only the locals that are going to travel in this area. So it's a quiet little location. On top of being a quiet location, it's so close to everything you need. Unbelievable schools all around you. Brand Park Primary, Willers Hill Secondary, Mazenot, Good Shepherd, amazing high schools and primary schools. Brandon Park Shopping Centre is not too far, the Glen, buses at your doorstep. So great schools, great shopping, everything you need is here. And this little location, like I said, it's very easy to get everywhere you want to get to because you have the freeways, Southeastern Freeway that takes you anywhere you like to go, the Eastern and so forth. So all I can say is property is perfect. And you can tell how perfect it is by the numbers of you here today. So all the bidding will be obviously recorded here with Jasmine and myself obviously helping out. So you'll be able to see that and what's going on. We're here to purchase, obviously. Put your hand up if I can't see you behind any corner there. Please, yell out your bid, but we have our team here to look after you. Do I see an opening bid?
800, please.
800, thank you very much. Thanks for 800 there. At 800,000, I'm looking for a $50,000 rise anywhere. At $800,000, I'm bid. And there's a bottle of wine there for you. At 800,000, 850, thank you for your bid. At 900, do I see? At $850,000 at 900, Kathleen, do I see? At 850 now. At $850,000, I'm bid now at 850. At $850,000, 900 if you like. At $850,000, a great opportunity here today. At $850,000, first call. 850,000, second call at 850, looking for 900, great opportunity here today. Do I see 900 anywhere? At 850, there's a great opportunity here, ladies and gentlemen, you know it and so do I. At $900,000, I'll take a vendor bid then. At $900,000, bid with me. At $900,000, I'm bid, do I see 950? At $900,000, what? Very genuine vendors here today at 950, thank you for your bid. At 950, yes?
No.
I should put it. No, I'm looking for 50s at the moment. 50? How about 20? I'll take 20 if it makes it any easier. 20, come with me with 20. You know 20, thank you for your bid. At $920,000 I'm bid. At 920 now. At $920,000 against your buyers there at the back, Kathleen. At $920,000 once. At $920,000 twice. At $920,000 third and final time. The opportunities here at the front. 940 do I see. Great opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. Great home. Put yourself in the best position here to buy the property. At $920,000 a bid with me. What do your buyers want to do there, right? At 920 here at the front. At $920,000 I am bid. At 920 instructions are clear. At $940,000 I'll take a vendor bid then. At 940. At $940,000 I am bid at 940. At 940 I have, do I see 960? At $940,000. At $940,000 what? Ladies and gentlemen, here in Willis Hill, Brad Parker at 940 at the moment. This is a great 3-bedroom plus study home, 2 bathrooms. At 940 I have, do I see 960? At $940,000, put yourself in the best position here today. At $940,000. At $940,000. First call. 940 against you there. At $940,000. Second call. At $940,000, third and final time. All done, finished and silent. It's a great location here. 940 I have. Kathleen, what does the buyer want to do? Do I see 960? We're all patient here and waiting. Everyone's talking. At 940 now, 960 if you like. Put yourself in the best position.
950, please.
60? 60?
No.
I'll take your 60 then at 950 now. At 950 I'll take. At $950,000 I'm bid. At $950,000. At $950,000 against you at the read. At $950,000 you have the first right to be buying this property here today. At $950,000. We know there's other buyers here today. At $950,000 once. At $950,000 twice. At $950,000 third and final time. Behind the mask is a big smile. Obviously you love this property. At 950, put yourself in the best position. You can be smiling if you like. You're not going to find another one like this. 950 I have. Do I see another 10? Great opportunity here today. 960. Would you like to come with me at 960 there, sir? Speak to your buyers there, Nick. No?
So you're not interested? Okay.
Goldie, Roy. But 950, ladies and gentlemen, you consult with my vendors and I'll be up very shortly. We'll back in.
You paid 12,400 and 15 you bought the land place
They know what they're doing. We just turned up. That's it.
Next to our seats. That's it.
I could see all the way down to the bay.
We really enjoy it. It's nice. Yeah. People on the side.
Great idea.
Up a little bit. I'm in the navigation.
Carol, when did you do it?
1972. August the 12th, 1972.
Yeah, because there was still building in front of us when we went.
When we built the Port Lane, we got nothing into it.
In 1970. We built in 1971.
And my said she did 73 for me.
Thanks for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. I want to make it clear, our vendors are here to sell the property here today, right? Obviously, the last bidder here will have first right to negotiate with them, and let me tell you, their reserve is very realistic. At $950, confirm your bid. Thank you. All of you that are here to buy the property, this person will have first right to buy it. Put yourself in that position. This is where you do it. At $950,000, I'll be only talking to her, whoever's their hand up last. Reserve is very realistic. So I'll make it clear, put yourself in the best position here, ladies and gentlemen. Here's your chance to buy the property. At $950,000, do I see 960? Put yourself in that position now. At $950,000, do I see? At 950 I have. At $950,000, my instructions are clear. At $950,000. At $950,000, I am big now at 950. At $950,000, 60, thank you for your bid. At $960, a quick bid's a good bid. At $960,000 against your buyer there, Kathleen. At $960, I have first right to buy this property now. At $960,000, do I see 70? At $960,000, this is not how you buy real estate, it's about putting your hand up. At $960,000, first call. At $960,000, second call. I see a bid there, 70. At $960,000, third, final time. Over here, first right.
She wanted for some 1,000.
No, not far, not one at the moment. Do I see? Give me 5. No, that's fine. At $960,000, first right will go over here. And I'll make it clear, they'll probably be buying the property after we negotiate with them. If you want to buy, you need to put your hand up here today. At $960,000 once. At $960,000 twice. At $960,000, third and final time. 965 now, 65, 70 if you like. A quick bid's a good bid. At 965, guys, you should round me off to $1 million. That's what I'd be doing. At 65, 70 if you like. At 965, 70 if you like now, if you like. At 965.
You're not taking 1,000.
5 at the moment, 965. My vendor's instructions are clear. At $965,000, first call. At $965,000, second call. At $965,000, third and final time. All done, finished and silent. 965. Another 5 if you like there. Put yourself in the best position. Another 5. Make it clear.
70, please.
70, thank you for your bid. At 970,000, get your buyer there, Roy. At 970, a good bid is round me off to 980. That's what I'd be doing. At $970,000. At $970,000 here. It's over here now. At 970, first call. At 970,000, second call. At 970,000, third and final time. Great opportunity here today.
Is that okay, 1,000?
No, well, she was going to give me one before. Cut, need 5s. My instructions are clear from our vendor. 75 if you like. You all know. 970 I have. Another 5 if you like here. once, because we'll be negotiating with the vendor, twice, over here, third and final time.
Okay.
Thank you, 975. At 975 now. At $975,000 own bid. At 975,000. My instructions are clear, guys. Round me off to $1 million. Round me off to $1 million. At 975. Instructions are clear. That's what I'd be doing. At $975,000. First call. It's over here. At 975,000. Second call. At 975,000. Third and final time. Who'll be coming in? The reality is, sir, put yourself in the best position. You want to buy it, that's what you need to do. You won't have another chance. Great value here. 674 square metres of land approximately. This is great opportunity. You want to round me off? Give you a position to buy the property. At 975 I have. What if I want to do, Goldie? Once. Twice. Third and final time. 975. First rate over here. Sir, now you're thinking about it, you're not going to get another chance. They'll come in, buy it. Very realistic. The reason why that is because it's being valued by a valuer, ladies and gentlemen, and the valuer has set the price. And obviously they're very realistic, aren't they? So make it clear here today, 975 I have. Another 5. Goldie, what do you guys want to do? First call, second call, third and final time. All done, finished, silent. 975. First rate over here. You out? You out? Another 5? 1. I'll take the 76. Give you the chance to do that. 976. Well, I'll take it now. At 976 gives you first right to negotiate. At 976 on bid. At $976,000 against you and you. At 976. At 976, if you want to round me off, you have first right to negotiate here today. At $976,000 once. At $976,000 twice. At 976, third and final time.
980.
980, thank you for your bid. At $980,000 on bid. At $980,000 against you and you. At $980,000 on bid now. 1,981. 81, big, good bid's a quick bid. 981, give me $1 million. Round me off to $1 million. I'll let you over the opportunity to buy it here today. At 981, we know it's worth it, so do you. At $981,000 once. At 981,000 twice. At 981, third, final time.
1,000.
982. I said $1 million, not 1,000. That's fine. At 982, put yourself in the best.
1,000,
1,083. Good bid. Make it a good bid next time, boys. That's what I'd be doing. At $983,000 I bid. At $983,000 once.
990.
990. You came in finally. At $990,000 I'm bid. At $990,000 I'm bid. At another 1,991. At 991 I'm bid now. 991. At 991. At 991 I'm bid now. First call. At $991,000. Second call. At $991,000. Third and final time. All done. Finished. Silent. 991. Put yourself in the best position. Get your buyer and your buyer. 991. First right over here. What? Not going to get it again.
995.
95. 995 now.
Another 1,000,
Another
please.
1,000. 996. At 996 on bid. At 996 on bid now. At 996 cents close. Very close, not like the footy match last night. At $996,000. At $996,000. Does it make any difference if I said our vendors were Swan supporters and looking forward to the game tonight? At $996,000 I bid now once. At $996,000 twice. At $996,000 third and final time. Round me off.
997.
997. At 997 now. At 997. At 997, you're making me work for it. Another 1,098. At 998. At 998, round me off. It's easy to do the 10%. At $998,000 I bid. At 998. At 998 once. At 998 twice. At 998 third final time. All done. All finished. Silent. At 998. Here at the back.
$1 million.
$1 million. We got there. We got there finally at $1 million. At $1 million we are here. At $1,000,001. At $1,001,000 I am bid. At $1,001,000. At $1,001,000 I'm bid now, ladies and gentlemen. I said it earlier, our vendors are very realistic. The property is going to be sold here today. This sold stickers on the market we are selling. At $1,001,000 I am bid. At $1,001,000. At $1,002,000. At $1,002,000. Ladies and gentlemen, 674 square metres of flat. At $1,003,000. At $1,003,000 now. It's against you and you. At $1,003,000 I am bid. At $1,003,000 I am bid with Kathleen's guy here at the front. At $1,003,000, ladies and gentlemen. We know it's 4 and 5 if you like. And 4 I have here. At $1,004,000. At $1,004,000 and $1,005,000. At $1,005,000 I am bid now. At $1,005,000 now. At $1,005,000 I'm bid now. First call. Work every bit of it. Ladies and gentlemen, Lucas, $1,006,000. $1,006,000. 3 bedroom plus a study here today.
Another $1,000, please.
$1,007,000. At $1,007,000 I'm bid. What a great hire, great investment opportunity for you if you like. At $1,007,000. Just a paint job, ladies and gentlemen, some carpets.
1.1.
1.1 million or $1,010,000?
Oh, sorry, 1.01. Sorry.
Okay, that would have been a nice knockout bid. Why not? We'll get there hopefully. At $1,010,000 I'm bid at the rear. At $1,010,000, ladies and gentlemen, great opportunity here today. At $1,010,000, we had 4 or 5 people love this home, bid for this home. When you sell one day in the future, you'll have the same. Obviously, as long as you're doing it with Barry Plan. At $1,010,000. First call. Don't get scared.
Take 500?
If I was going to get it, I'll make the decisions, Nick. At $1,010,000, I'll take you 500, 10.5. At 10.5 I had, but that's as low as I'll take. At $1,010,500. At $1,010,500 just over here. At $1,010,500. First call. At $1,010,500. Second call. You were with me earlier. Come on, Lucas Morris home. What are you going to find for $1,010,500 here in Brandon Park? You have Mazenot down the road. Nice quiet location. 3 bedrooms plus a study. You're not going to find it. Here on the side here, you won't find an opportunity like this again. Don't put yourself in the wrong position, put yourself in the best position. $1,010,500 over here. At $1,010,500, what?
1,000 more.
Okay, $1,011,500. At $1,011,500. At $1,011,500, Kathleen, give me $1,020,000. That's how you buy real estate. At $1,011,500 I'm bid. At $1,011,500, what?
Another $1,000, please.
$1,012,500. At $1,012,500. At $1,012,500. Round it off to $1,015,000 there, Roy. At $1,012,500. At $1,012,500 I'm bid. At $1,012,500, what? At $1,012,500 twice.
500.
500 here, 13. At $1,013,000. At $1,013,000. At $1,013,000. First call. At $1,013,000. Second call. At $1,013,000. Third final time. We are selling. It's on the market, sir. It's going to be sold. At $1,013,000. 500 now. At $1,013,500. At $1,013,500. We are selling. Make it clear. At $1,013,500. At $1,013,500. What?
1.015.
15, thank you. You're making it clear this time. At $1,015,000. At $1,015,000. Kathleen, give me $1,020,000. That's what I would do if I was you. It's worth it. I know you know it. 515.5. At $1,015,500 I'm bid. At $1,015,500. At $1,015,500. What? At $1,015,500 twice.
500 more.
500 more and 15 and 16. At $1,016,000. At $1,016,000 I'm bid. At $1,016,500. 5 now. Quick bid's a good bid if you like there, Roy. At $1,016,500 I have. To $1,016,500. Round me off to $1,020,000, Roy. If not $1,050,000, that's what I'd be doing. At $1,016,500. First call. At $1,016,500. Second call. At $1,016,500. Third and final time. Still talking at the rear.
Okay, 1,018,000.
18. All that time for 1,500. At $1,018,000 I'm bid now. $1,018,500 here. At 18.5. At 18.5. At 18.5, she sees value, you see value, we all see value here. At $1,018,500. At $1,018,500 once. At $1,018,500 twice.
500 more.
500 more. And 19. Kathleen, don't worry about the 500.
Another 500, please.
Ah, $1,019,500. That's okay, it's money, that's fine. I can see you smiling under that mask. At $1,019,500. At $1,019,500. Guess you buy there, Roy. $1,020,000 or 25 or 30. That's what I'd be doing. Knockout bid.
500.
500 more, $1,020,000 now. At $1,020,000. See, it's raining outside and we're inside like we've done that. At $1,020,000 and 20.5. At $1,020,500. At $1,020,500 on bid. At $1,020,500. We're getting there slowly, maybe 25. Give him a hand there.
1030.
30. Good bid. At $1,030,000 I have. The quiet achiever over here. At $1,030,000. First call.
Another 500.
500, you tried. At $1,030,500, maybe try $1,050,000, you might have a chance. At $1,030,500. At $1,030,500 once. He's made it tough for me in the beginning. But ladies and gentlemen, we all know it's a great home, a great opportunity, a great street. And yes, great neighbours, aren't they great neighbours?
1,035,000.
35, trying to scare you back. At $1,035,000. At $1,035,000 on bid. At $1,035,000 against you now. 500 and a little 500 comes in. At $1,035,500. At $1,035,500. At $1,035,500 once. At $1,035,500 twice. At $1,035,500 third final time.
500.
Another 536. And 36 on bid, $1,036,000. At $1,036,000.
Another 500.
And 36.5. And 36.5, you're okay with your hand. Thank you, Jasmine. At $1,036,500. At $1,036,500. And 37 now. And 37. At $1,037,000 once. At $1,037,000 twice. Round me off, Nick.
Trying.
Quite achiever here. Go for it, $1,050,000. At $1,037,000. Third time. All done. Finished and silent.
1.04, please.
40. Sorry,
1.04.
At 40,000. 50, sir.
500.
500 or 50?
500.
500? 1,040,000? 500. Just from 10 to 5, that's all fine. At $1,040,500 now, keep it interesting, that's fine. At $500 again, $1,041,000, 500 again, and a half. 42. $1,042,000, sir? $1,042,000, yes? Yes, $1,042,000 here. At $1,042,000 on bid. At $1,042,000, guess your buy there, Roy, and your Kathleen. At $1,042,000.
1.05.
$1,050,000. Good bid, good bid. At $1,050,000, I told you to do that earlier. Another 500 if you like. At $1,050,000. First call. At $1,050,000. Second call. Wants to wait? At $1,050,000.
500.
500 now. At 500. You know that 500 you gave me earlier? It's come back to haunt you, unfortunately. At $1,050,500. At $1,050,500.
1.06.
$1,060,000. Thank you for your bid. At $1,060,000 now. At $1,060,000. Good luck to you there. At $1,060,000. At $1,060,000, sir. 70. 65. No? At $1,060,000 here at the front. Guess you buy there, Roy. At $1,060,000. First call. At
500.
500. At $1,060,500. At $1,060,500. At $1,060,500. You with me earlier in the middle there. I can see so this would be a great home, family home, bring up the kids. How nice would it be? At $1,060,500. Once. Out the rear with Roy. At $1,060,500 twice. At $1,060,500 third and final time. You're done, finished and silent. Kathleen, against your buyer.
1.07, please.
And $1,070,000. Nice, quiet achiever there too. And $1,070,000 now. And $1,070,000 against you and you. And $1,070,000. And $1,070,000 on bid. And $1,070,000 once.
500.
500. And that 500 comes back again. And $1,070,500. And $1,070,500 once. And $1,070,500 twice. And $1,070,500 third and final times. At the back there, Kathleen. It's against your buyer. It's $1,070,500 at the back against your buyer, Kathleen. Your buyer's not in it now. $1,070,500. You said, hold on, sir. We're going to sell it at the back. The sold sticker's going to go on the board. No further bidding. Your buyer, Kathleen, they in or out? About to sell it. $1,080,000 sounds good. Come on. $1,070,500. Once. Twice. Third and final time. You're finished and silent. Bit of concentration at the front.
Hold on.
So this is it.
We're going to sell it. You're the quiet achiever. You come in the last minute.
It's another 500.
500. 71. That's 71. Could have been their last 500. Sir, what would you like to do? $1,080,000. Give it a go. It's still a great opportunity. We know it. You know it. That's what I would do. $1,071,000. $1,080,000. Give it a go if you like. That might get it for you. At $1,071,000. What do you think? Give it a go? No? Are you sure? You said that last time. At $1,071,000. First call. At $1,071,000. Second call. At $1,071,000. Third and final time.
500.
500 again. 71.5. At $1,071,500. At $1,071,500 I have. At $1,071,500. At $1,071,500 once. At $1,071,500 twice.
108, please.
$1,080,000. Good bid. At $1,080,000. At $1,080,000 I'm bid. At $1,080,000. We see value, they see value. At $1,080,000 I'm bid.
We prefer number 8 as well, so 800 more.
800.
8,000 more or 800 more?
800.
Well, that's going to be a round figure, but it's over 500, so I take 800 and 800. At $1,080,000 and $800, but no less than $500 rises here.
200. You want to
No, we
round
can't
up
do
the
200.
number.
No, we can't do 200. You can give me 1,200 or 700. One of the two. At $1,080,800 once. At $1,080,800 twice. At $1,080,800 third and final time. 500 minimum. We're going to start the back. 108,800.
Bit of a tongue twister.
Call it again. Once, twice, third and final time. $1,080,800. What would you like to do? Kathleen?
Just only want 200 to make a round up.
I'll round it up.
Yeah.
$1,081. Because you've been with me all along. An 81. Another 800 if you like. At $1,081,000 on bid. At $1,081,000 you've with me all along. At $1,081,000. Do I say another 800?
800 more.
Thank you. At $1,081,800. At $1,081,800 I have again. At $1,081,800 once. At $1,081,800 twice. Why don't you give me $1,088,800? That'll be a nice one, Kathleen. At $1,081,800 third and final time. Get your buy at the front again. All done, finished and silent. $1,081,800. You out? You out? Sir, you out? You sure? You're outside, I know that, but you out of the bidding? Yes? At $1,081,800. First call, second call, third and final time. We're starting to the
want to round up another 200.
Oh, knew that you would do that.
82.
With these 800s, that's what happens, and I'll take it. $1,082,000. We are working for our vendors, not normally, but $1,082,000. At $1,082,000. at $1,082,000. $1,082,800, 500, up to you. At $1,082,000, first call. At $1,082,000, working for our vendors, second call. At $1,082,000, third and final time. 88. 1,088,000, Roy. Sounds good. 82 I have. Gave her plenty of time, giving you plenty of time. $1,082,000 now. Plenty of discussion. First, second, third and final time, and $1,082,000.
500.
500? Thank you. 82.5. 182.5. 182.5 on bid. 182.5. At 182.5 on bid again. At 182.5 again, Zhou up. That's it. She's out. She's wishing them the best of luck. At 182,500. Once. At 182,500. Twice. At 182,500. Third and final time. All done, finished and silent. At 182,500. You're out? You sure? Yes? You're out? You sure? And $1,082,500. The property's going. Sold. Congratulations. Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending another successful Barrack Plan auction. Well done. All the best. Thank you very much. All the best, and have a great weekend, all. Good luck to the footy matches tonight.